Hello and welcome to Sega Saturdays, GamesRadar's nostalgic look back at the best Sega games of yore. I'm GamesRadar Executive Editor Andy Hartup, and I am joined by Justin Towell.
Hello.
Ian Mr. Trophy Wilson.
Hello.
And Dave Horton.
Hello.
Hello. This week we are looking at the classic fighting game Virtua Fighter 2, which is playing on Saturn. Let's take a look at how it's holding up.
Fight! 1, ready, go!
So you can see it playing on screen at the moment. It looks incredibly slick. Ian, did you play any Virtua Fighter back in the day?
I didn't know. I really got into this sort of game in the PlayStation era. So for me, Tekken was the main fighting game.
Tekken,
dirty Tekken.
I know. I'm so sorry.
This was in that era, though. It's, you know.
Yeah.
It should be the 32-bit era, not just the PlayStation era.
Yeah.
This is Sega Saturdays, not PlayStation.
I mean, looking at it now, all the characters seem to be sort of made of cardboard boxes and toilet roll tubes.
Yeah, they were at the time. It was good though.
But
It's
I
a
guess
distinct look, isn't it?
it is. It's the Virtua look.
Well, this is the weird thing about. Justin talked about this in the office a few times. Like that kind of simplistic, chunky, almost kind of flat shaded look, which a lot of the early Virtua games were like racing. It's hit that point now where it's gone full circle, where it just looks really smart and stylized rather than outdated.
Well, in this instance, I'd say it's more to do with great art design because this is fully textured. That was the big thing that the game did. Was
is
being
it fully textured?
Yeah,
though?
it's texture mapped. Yeah.
Yeah, it is. But I mean, the fact that those textures are now kind of look relatively simple compared to kind of modern ones.
Well, of course,
that blended with the big, chunky, really bright art style and the chunky nature of the models, it becomes almost an accidental art decision now. So it looks really good.
Oh, that's cool. Now, Justin, I'm going to avoid you saying too much because you might accidentally let slip some facts.
I know.
Of your fact challenge, and that would prejudice you in your fact challenge, which I think we'll do now.
Oh,
so, gentlemen, pray silence for Justin's Sega Fact Challenge on Virtua Fighter 2. Justin, you have 30 seconds to name as many facts, hard facts about Virtua Fighter 2. The fact owl will adjudicate. Ready, go!
The game came out in arcades in 1994, came to Sega Saturn in very late 1995, it was one of the big three. It was made by AM2, Yu Suzuki made it. In fact, Akira Yuki in this game is basically what Ryu Hazuki from Shenmue was made from. The game features 11 characters, one of which is secret. There are over 1,200 moves in the game. It was texture mapped. It ran at full high-resolution mode on Sega Saturn at 60 frames a second, which was revolutionary. And... oh, God!
Danger!
Oh, I'm out. That's it. Surely.
That
was a fact ring out. Right?
I think I still might have beaten my record though with that.
Yeah, your record was 7. Was it?
That might have been
Crazy Taxi and Outrun.
Yeah.
So that was a rapid, pile drive of facts there. Just maybe a little too early on it.
Yeah.
Well, we were sort of talking about keeping your facts shorter.
Yeah. I know. Yeah, I did try. Yeah.
So
I did.
You've managed that.
I've got another brilliant fact as well.
No, you can't reinsert facts after the fact.
I want
very
facts.
clear on that.
Just one more. Just one
no,
more.
after the fact.
No, none of that. Okay, now we've been watching the gameplay quite a while. Let's talk a little bit about the fighting system. How does it hold up, like against today's fighters? Because obviously, I think the yardstick every fighting game is now measured by is Street Fighter 2 or 4, depending on what era you're looking at.
I mean,
how does it compare?
I mean, it shouldn't be in this case because VF was always very, very, very different. I mean, obviously, I played a hell of a lot of Street Fighter back in the day, and still do. I played a fair bit of Virtua Fighter in the arcade at the time. And at the time, it was radically unlike anything anyone's seen before in terms of the way its flow and use of space worked. But I think because it sort of made those rules in such a really clear, comprehensible fashion, it's never really dated. It's remained.
Well, yes.
Yeah.
The thing with this is that it's got a 3-button control system.
Yeah.
It's got block, punch, and kick, and everything is accessed through these 3 buttons.
Yeah, it's contextual rather than
directions. Well, no, it's all direction inputs and the buttons, so it's not really context sensitive. But They did add a evade move for Virtua Fighter
Yeah.
3, which they then took out again. So 4 and 5
Yeah.
have gone back to this template. You're basically looking at the template for every modern fighting game in this, I'd say.
No, you're not. You're looking at the template of every
That is
modern
a
3D.
bold claim.
You're looking at the template of
Really
every modern
bold claim.
3D fighting game.
Well, the original Virtua Fighter was the first 3D fighting game.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So every game since then has had that to thank for doing
Street
that.
Fighter 4 doesn't, though, does it?
Well, Street Fighter 4 is a 2D game
That's my
with 3D
point.
graphics.
You said every fighting game. No, but it is. It absolutely is, though. In terms of, no, I'm being massively pedantic. You're entirely correct. In terms of like the sort of model it solidified for how fighting games were going to work in the
We
future.
are going to have to call him the pedantic beaver.
Yeah,
Continue with
that's fine.
this.
I have a T-shirt with that on. That's
Excellent. Yeah, that actually reminds me a little bit about a story I've got about Virtua Fighter. Is it
Oh, yeah.
alright if I talk about this?
we've got
Maybe.
time. Yeah, go for it. Yeah.
Well, anyway, Virtua Fighter, 95. So I was quite a precocious teenager by the time this came out, and I never actually owned a Saturn, but he told me that it just turned purple, and eventually it just fell off.
So you shouldn't have done that.
It's not right.
Well, you know those guys, right? They present that TV show.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, apparently they're both really into Satanism.
Oh, God.
You wouldn't tell on camera, would you?
You'd never know.
Completely different.
And that's the third pair of trousers that didn't fit.
That's a really bad day.
Anyway, I just assumed that sort of stuff was poisonous, but she just ate it. And
Really?
anyway, the cabbage looked just like Simon Cowell.
All too often they do.
And so end of the story really is I just took the Virtua Fighter disc out of his suit pocket. I mean, he was dead. He didn't need it.
Yeah, it's kind of wasteful if he's just going anyway, I suppose.
I'm not comfortable with that.
Fight! 1. Ready! Go!
All right, so last bit of sort of more general chat about Virtua Fighter. I have to confess, I know very little about Virtua Fighter. I was more of a Street Fighter person growing up. That was just me. Justin, what else? What other things have we not covered in enough detail? We get criticised for not covering the soundtrack, but that's not really a thing.
Well, the soundtrack is pretty good in this, but yes, it's not so much of a thing that it's famous for. I'd say it's famous. It does have air juggles. You knock someone into the air and you can carry on hitting them. So there's very deep combo system in that. Also, the programming of this game, because obviously when Virtua Fighter 1 came out on Saturn, it ran at 30 frames a second. It was very glitchy. It was rough. It was very rough. But they managed to get this to run at 60 frames in high resolution mode, and it was far superior to even, say, Tekken 2's conversion.
Yeah.
Well, I suppose that Tekken 2 in the arcade ran on the same hardware, so it's not necessarily a conversion, but this is slicker. It was the slickest fighting game you could get at the time. And it still looks amazing as a result, because the 60 frame update really helps.
So I have a question. When it comes to fighting games, I'm a terrible button masher. I don't have a great deal of finesse when it comes to this. So, given there's only 3
Yes.
input buttons for it, is there still that range of moves? And if I was just hammering the buttons against you, would you take me apart?
Well, a master on Virtua Fighter 2 will always take apart a beginner. However, the control system is intuitive. If you
it really is.
If you press down and towards and kick, then you will do an attack that will defeat a crouched opponent, because it makes sense to aim that way.
I mean, whereas in the way that Street Fighter's built around kind of long combos and big showboating of these specials, Virtua Fighter is always been much more about a much broader range of much smaller, more intricate moves that chain together in, really intricate ways, effectively. So
Yeah, I mean, you can attack low, middle, and high, but you can only block high or low. So, of course, there's standing up will block the middle attack.
yeah,
It's a very complex system. It's basically rock, paper, scissors, which all great
all
fighting
fighting games are. Yeah. But it's very. By scaling it down but going broader, it's makes it really intuitive.
Yeah, and if you see the characters fighting here, each character is being drawn by a separate processor in the Saturn, which is quite amazing. Because they had to get the most they could from it, and even compressing the game all down onto the disc took them a long time, because there are so many moves in the game. Say over 1,200 moves. It's crazy.
I feel like this, more than any of our other Sega Saturdays videos, which are available to watch now, has contained more facts than usual. This has been a fact-packed episode. Now, obviously, it's gotten to that part of the show where you need to throw another log on the crackling fire and cuddle up with a very fluffy pillow. It's time for Dave's haiku review of Virtua Fighter. Silence, please.
Fear this old master. My textures may now be rough, but my fists are square.
Dave, that was a haiku.
It certainly was. It certainly was.
Oh dear. I don't know. I think I preferred the Outrun one.
Really?
Yeah.
I like that one, but the Outrun one. Oh, the Outrun one was nice.
I can't remember the Outrun one now. I just throw them out.
I just remember it gave me a really warm feeling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I do vaguely remember that one now.
Yeah,
That's
left
quite
or
good.
right? Who knows?
Who knows? Yeah, the eternal mystery and conundrum. That, much like life, that is Outrun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The stuff philosophy degrees are built upon. Right, that is it for us and for Virtua Fighter. If you like what you've seen, leave us a lovely little thumbs up on the YouTubes. And if you really like what you've seen, subscribe. There's a playlist. There's 3 other videos. We cover Streets of Rage, Crazy Taxi, Outrun. And next week, I'm so excited about next week.
Yeah.
I don't know whether or not to tell you. I'm not going to tell you what we're doing next
Teaser.
week. It's awesome. I love it anyway.
I love it too.
So yeah, leave us comments if you think of any games that you want us to cover, and we will probably cover them as long as Justin owns them.
Yes.
But that's all from this week, and hopefully see you next week.
Come back again in about a year.
Did you enjoy that? Excellent stuff. Well, we've got plenty more Sega Saturdays videos. That was our 4th one, because we've also done Outrun, Crazy Taxi and Streets of Rage 2, so check them out on the playlist there on the top left. If you want to have a look at a more modern fighting game, then we've got plenty of content on Super Smash Bros, which is coming to Wii U and 3DS, so check out our weekly show up there on the top right. And down there on the bottom left, you can have a look at our Trials Fusion Squirrels Guide. Apparently I'm saying that wrong, it's meant to be Squirrels Guide. Can't do it, so do check that out. Cheers.